Well, hello. My name is Keith Anthony Taylor. This is the London Overcomers Real Pain podcast. And I'm very lucky to have Daniel Ganime with me. And he was born and raised in Beirut and survived 30 years of war and had to work to support his family during his father's cancer. And he went to medical school, but then left to join electronics and telecommunications because it was faster that way to hit the professional field in order to start making a living to support the family. And after 20 years in telecommunications, he did morphopsychology studies and joined hypnotherapy by coincidence and training with Jerry Kine, and also mentored by the lovely Beryl Comer, who I've also been privileged to interview. And also Wendy Weber was another one of his mentors. So he's been very fortunate there. So Daniel, it's wonderful to have you on the show. And I want to start running. My first question with you is been something that's been I've been curious about for a long time, because I've seen it in various places on the internet and on your page, even recently. I just got to ask you, what's all this stuff about hummus?
People were asking me, about hummus. Wendy Weber put that, PhD in psychomorpho humusologist. And people, they started sending me messages, congratulations on your PhD and doctorate and stuff like that. And it felt so weird. Basically, it all started, we were having a discussion on Zoom quite some time back, and we were getting the discussion about the definition of hypnosis. And so everyone was giving that, the definitions from Milton Erickson, from Dave Allman, from Orman McGill, everyone, like getting all these mixes and matches of hypnosis, and then everyone is getting his own thing in. And I said, like, Daniel, what do you call hypnosis? How do you define hypnosis? I was like, I don't call it hypnosis anymore. I call it hummus. I said, why? I said, like, why not? Because, you can call it anything, because it's something natural. It's there. It's, you use it with everything. You can dip anything in it. And apparently Jerry Kine, said something about hummus, that like everything is better with hummus. And this is why Wendy just put it there. And it felt like, really, it is hummus. It's everywhere. You can put it, you can dip a cucumber in it. You can just use it there. And the problem is, the term hypnosis, people, they think that James Braid came out with the term hypnosis, and most of the trainings, they just go ahead and talk about hypnosis being, coined by James Braid, although it wasn't. The term was coined by a French mesmerist, actually, but he found out that the hypnosis that we know is totally different from mesmerism. And this is another different issue, that people, they say hypnosis started with Mesmer, but that guy, the Baron Denis Etienne de Cuvier, he was the guy who coined that term, hypn, as a prefix, HYPN. And it started there. So people, they just having the fight over here, while the guy who invented that term sitting there telling them, hello, I'm the one who coined it. You can just ask me. So why are you going there, just having a fight with each other over the name and the definition? So basically, if it wasn't him who coined that name, I would have said, yeah, people, they can have their bash on that. Until then, I will keep on calling it hummus. So that's the thing.
Well, that's a great story, and I've been curious for so long, because I wasn't party to that discussion, so I've been wondering for a long time, and that is a great story. So I think in future I'll call it hummus, and that fills in quite nicely with the discussion that we were having before we came on air, wasn't it?
Yeah, indeed.
We were talking about why do we call a dog Ben?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's like I told you, you call your dog Ben, and people are having a fight why the dog is called Ben. Keith Anthony called his dog Ben. Why are you having a fight over there? Go ask Keith, he did that. Go ask that guy. He gave that name. Why are you just like going there and this and that and hypnosis this, hypnosis that? Call it hummus and then just have your fight. Call it anything and then put it the way you think it is. Because actually it's all over the place. We were talking about biasing, all these cognitive biasing, informative biasing, confirmation biasing. Everything in the world now is being biased. People are getting hypnotized, with everything, with the social media, with the media, with the mass media, fake news or whatever it is, you name it, everything. So basically, if they think that people are getting hypnotized by the media, that means hypnosis is something bad. Well, tell you the truth, we're de-hypnotizers. We're de-hypnotists. Actually, we de-hypnotize people to get them well, to just drain that negativity out of them. Just take that, that's that burden of hurt, of pain, of shame, of guilt, of all that, that is inside them, because they were hypnotized by everything around them in order to be in that situation. So we come there and work on de-hypnotizing them, and we call ourselves the hypnotists. See, the whole hypnosis thing is almost it's all upside down, and it's weird. I'm not sure, when the day will come that it will be known that hypnotists, they de-hypnotize people, they don't hypnotize them.
That's right. We help people to focus on what's really important by cleaning out all the noise, all the confusion that's going on in our minds, don't we? And there is a lot of noise going on at the moment in the world, because the world is in turmoil. And you grew up in Beirut, didn't you?
Yeah, indeed.
What was it, age 4 when the war started in
1975, actually. I was born in 71. In 1975, it started, the whole trigger started, actually. And as I was telling you, it's like my home is, if you put a ruler on the map and you draw the blue line, it will go through our bedroom. So we were the first people who got, leaving their house due to the war. And we were jumping from one place to another, living all kind of situations. I still remember one, thing. It was in 77. We were coming back to the area, and the first thing I saw as a 6-year-old, it was one guy being dragged by a car on the street, just like Mad Max movies. And this is something that I've seen, like in front of me, and plus all the other stuff. So basically, I'm not sure if that is like, I don't consider it as a trauma, because we went through it and it doesn't affect us in a way or another. But we still, if you have like firecrackers coming on, you still have those flashbacks. So you can imagine, going on a wedding and then they have the firecrackers, and it's just like, whoa, it feels like they deep down inside they kick you. Mm-hmm. And this is what was happening, with most of my clients. They come with all these kind of traumas also, especially after the Beirut blast. People that were coming and they were just afraid by slamming a door. If they are sitting and the door slammed, they will go into a shock. So basically, yeah, it was something quite traumatic for everyone, and we've been through a lot. Fortunately, okay, on one side I said, like, unfortunately I wasn't able to join the medical school. I was like, I put all the tests and everything, and the war started, and my father had first cancer, and said, like, okay, I'm not gonna go there and just stay for a very long time. I have to go something fast just to start generating, and then I continued my studies. But unfortunately, you see all those people who went through that, and then you say, like, fortunately, I know hypnosis, I know hypnotherapy, the way I was taught. I am being able to help people, and it feels good, each time someone sends you that message or send you like some sort of a thank you note or something like that. Feel like, whoa, those people have been like in trauma for 30, 35 years, 25 years. They lost loved ones, and they come to peace, and then they come and thank you. It feels like, no, you pay it forward to the community and the all the families around you. Though it is quite heavy. It's not something really light. You need to be quite tough on that front, because it's not the usual casual kind of, no trauma is casual, but basically here you see plenty of these kind of things, like a mother that lost her child who was kidnapped, let's say was it like in 80, it was in 80 or 81, and she hasn't seen him, and everybody told her, yeah, we saw him in prison and we saw him these here and there, and she was just roaming around until now. She didn't have her closure yet. So that's one example, with so many examples, like the guy who saw all his family being massacred in front of him, and then they didn't have that closure. So you will see them all. So it makes like stopping smoking feel like it's nothing, to be compared. You can do that, but you can do that change. So this is where I went. This is the branch I go to, where all the thing is. I call it the exorcism, actually, because it's like kind of exorcism.
It's I'm feeling very small, because I am a hypnotist and deal with trauma, and I've seen some terrible things, but I've given hypnosis to people with severed limbs and saved their lives, but I've not dealt with anybody who's been kidnapped and lost their sons or daughters. That's a whole nother area that I've not dealt with. But you must be getting that all the time in
Yeah, it's actually, as we call it, our bread and butter, but it's not something to show off about. It's not something to be, like sassy about or something like that. I look at it and say, like, our society has been so traumatized. It wasn't like a walk in the park. We didn't arrive to that stage where we can help people because we were born with a silver spoon or in our mouth or something. Like, no, it wasn't like that. It was like through all that lives we went through, it was really different lives, because each time you had, let's say, an explosion, or you had a problem, you went through another trauma in your life. It's like as if you're starting a new life. I remember it was in 78 or 79 or 78. We were shot at. We were like 6 people in the car. Our driver, it was taxi driver. We were just the whole family in the car. Our taxi driver got a hit in his hand, and he had to drive backward about 1 kilometer to stay away from a sniper. It was like, I called, I say these stories, and it feels like, it's like some sort of a movie. Yeah, but we went through that. So basically, nothing that when you go through that, and you know the meaning of life, and you know how to stand on your feet, and you see, like, there's nothing worse than just having something like that. So you just push forward. You've lived through that. You push forward. It gives you that kind of energy to just go and help people and tell them that's nothing, dude. It's just like, your wife left you, for heaven's sake, move on. Let's work on that, or something else is like, okay, I gained about 40 kilos and I'm being bullied, come to tell you, just let's do that. But I never used my stories to tell people, I'm better than you, because everyone's problem is so big. It's like, yes. we have an expression, everyone is carrying a cross at its own size. So basically, your cross is not the same as mine. So that is one major thing I look at. It's unfortunate we went through that, and we're still going. We have an economical problem now. It's not to be mentioned. 1,000% inflation, whatever, your money disappeared from the bank. So basically, we're still going through traumas and traumas and traumas and traumas. People losing their savings, and then they come to you. So you have that congruency. You have to just talk to them in a certain way. But one thing very dangerous in traumas, some people, they associate themselves with their traumas. So what will happen? They will think that because of their trauma, they were able to write books, they were able to stand and be a public speaker, and they were able to tell people that they are, a hard shell, but deep down inside, they haven't released that trauma. And then when they come to you to work with them, and then you tell them, if you got freed from your trauma, what will you do? And it feels at a certain point, they're like, oops. It's like as if their life has been, built around that trauma. So they don't want to leave that place, as if, like, no, let me think about it. And this is one thing. And from another side, the Lebanon is quite religious, if we can say it this way. Some people, they hold on to that trauma, that pain, and feel like, okay, the ultimate pain is like when Jesus was crucified. Okay, so that's the ultimate pain. I said, okay, listen to me. I am a believer. I believe, Jesus was crucified, but he got tortured like for like 5-6 hours at the end of his life. What did you do? You have been torturing yourself your whole life. You don't tell me you just like, putting yourself in that situation. He forgave everyone. You didn't. You've been holding to that grudge for 35 years. Maybe the guy who killed your son is not even alive yet. Is still. So basically, what are you going to do about that? You're going to go and tell that story on and on. So basically, people, they prime it themselves and they compound it inside themselves. And then you just hear it and hear it and hear it. So like, okay, how many times you've been telling these stories? Like every time I tell this story, I start crying and I feel sad. Yeah, are you going to get, do you want to get rid of it? If you get rid of it, how will your life be? Tell you the truth, I don't know. People, they're not used to it. It's just like Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. When they left Auschwitz, the Germans, they were, the war was won. The Germans left Auschwitz, and then the guys inside, they went out for their freedom, and then they came back to the to the camp, and they sat there and they were looking at each other, like, and then one guy said, like, I didn't feel happiness. They weren't you. They don't know what it looks like. So people, they just, put themselves in that cocoon. They think we built that world about writing books about our own trauma and telling people, making tear-jerking movies.
Yes, I understand that.
So basically, they don't get to let go, and this is a problem.
Yes, I don't want to talk about me, but I remember when I came out of hospital years ago, I'd been very badly injured. I'd been paralyzed from the neck down. But once I overcame that, when I walked to the front of the hospital and the world was out there, and I had amnesia, I didn't know the world outside. It was completely wiped from my memory. When I walked to the front of the hospital and the world was out there, when I stepped into it and walked out there, I was afraid because I didn't know what was out there. It was very scary.
It is. Because you don't have any recognition of what it looks like. What are you expecting? It's like sometimes you have anxiety from one simple thing. You have lack of some small information about, let's say, a job interview. You are anxious. So imagine having that anxiety on the whole world.
But it was a wonderful experience when I got out there because everything was new and fresh, and all I knew was the inside of the hospital, which was very drab. And then I went out into the world, and there was all this color that I hadn't seen before. And there was the sky, and there was the trees and bushes and cars. I hadn't seen a car. It was a very dangerous place because I had to learn very quickly what cars were, and it was very strange. And I had to learn about crossing the road, and all. It was an adventure. It was, and I'm getting emotional now. It was a wonderful experience when I went out there. And I remember one thing that particularly sticks in my mind. When I went home, in the road where I lived, it's all bricks and concrete and stuff like that. But when I get to the bit where I actually lived, the concrete ended and there was this long stretch of grass and these very high hedges because there was a golf course on the other side of that. And I remember the green because it was summer, and the hedge had had come into leaf, and it was all very much taller than me. It was very green, and the grass was green. And as I walked into it, I thought, wow, all this green. And I suddenly remembered green, and it was fabulous to suddenly see all. And I'm just thinking green, just my mind filled with green. It was wonderful.
It's
And
actually
always remember that.
it's actually quite a great experience, And sometimes that experience we don't know it, because the first time we experience something like that is the day we are born, and we don't remember anything from it.
Yes.
So basically, we use the
So
process to go back there, but then basically, so if going there, it's like being reborn. This is what I was telling you. With each trauma, with each problem, we were reborn again, because life didn't look the same. After a near-death experience, you go out. You see that the scattered glass, the broken windows, the burning cars, people on the ground, and look at yourself. Okay, as a child, and then as a grown-up, as an adult, as an adolescent, you're just growing up, and you're just getting all these feedbacks all the time. Like, you survived, as if someone is pushing you. You're saying, like, you have a certain duty to make, like you've been kept alive for for something useful in life. Maybe I was just like fantasizing about it, or maybe it just was all in my head. But look at it, from the bright side. I went to medical school to help people. I couldn't get there. I shifted to something else, and here I am, back on the same track. So it has been over there, and like each and every one of us has to be feeling that.
And could I stop you there? You said something very profound. You said you've been kept alive for something useful. And for the listener who's listening to the show, whatever situation you're in, whatever you're going through, you should listen to what Daniel said there. You have been kept alive for a reason. You have an important purpose in this world, and whatever situation you're in, you may be troubled, you may be suffering, or you may be very wealthy and doing very well. But whatever your situation, you've been kept alive. You're in this world for a reason. You have a purpose, and you have to follow that purpose. You have to find out what that purpose is and move forwards. Even if you're failing, you are failing forwards, and you need to keep moving forwards. And I failed many times when I was because I had to learn to walk again when I was 22, and I fell over a lot of times. But the thing about falling over is I always fell forwards. It was always progress, always going forward. So whatever situation you're in, you have failure, but you fail forward. So embrace failure, whatever it is. It's not good or bad when you fail. It's a result.
It's an experience.
An NLP term, neuro-linguistic programming. It's all progress.
It's an added experience to your arsenal of experiences, to your toolbox. Basically, everyone knows that term. Hate is not the total opposite of love. Fear is. But basically, there's another term which I heard it first from Professor Jordan Peterson, and it is it's with what you're saying. Purpose is the antidote to suffering. So finding your own purpose, you will end your suffering. This is very important to understanding what is a purpose. How do you find a purpose? How do you just manage to go forward in your life, just finding that purpose? Sometimes that purpose will find you. Just keep open to that, because at a certain point in time, you've been kept alive. If I say, okay, wait, if some people may be listening now and will say, like, if you are kept alive, who's keeping you alive? Okay, you are alive for a reason. Okay, if you don't find that reason and that purpose, you will be in an endless suffering. So believe me, there is it's for your own benefit to find that purpose, to find a purpose and shift from it. Living purposeless is the ultimate suffering you can ever imagine. You're just living in a void and an emptiness, total darkness of anything. Okay, so it's impossible to get yourself so sucked out, like getting implosive rather than explosive, rather than just getting to the word. And in any case, so when you implode, when you don't find that purpose, you cannot go forward. And this is what war taught me, taught me and taught plenty, and actually taught many of Lebanese, like citizens here. Many were taught a very hard lesson and a very tough one, yet it's a wise one. Being able to value your life. Being able to value your life. So basically, it's quite important to see yourself going forward in life, finding a purpose after a purpose after a purpose, because getting to the goal is not the happiness, getting to that goal. It's a journey. It's all about the journey. How do you do that? How do you go forward to do that? And basically, this is what we do. When I work with hypnotherapy, just get people on that road, on that journey, on finding that purpose, on knowing, getting, like stuck in the grudge and the hate and the fear. It will not get you ahead, because as we say, there are 2 days in the year you cannot change anything about. 2 days. You know what they are? Just 2 days.
2 days.
You cannot change. You cannot change anything about them. 2 days. Basically, it's yesterday and tomorrow. You will not be able to change anything about them. So
yes,
you cannot. What happened yesterday happened. You cannot change about anything. Yet your tomorrow, you cannot change it because it didn't happen yet. So basically, getting worried about your tomorrow, being anxious about your tomorrow, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. You're being anxious about something that doesn't exist. Yet you're stuck with your past and your fear, what happened before, thinking that it will happen later on. So hello, come back to here and now. Just stay here and now. Be anchored in the present, and then try to find yourself a purpose. And I hate to use the word try, though. Just find yourself a purpose, for heaven's sake. Go find yourself a purpose. Don't try, just do it.
And don't let the future be a casualty of the past.
Exactly. If you build your future on based on the past, it's like it's another copy. It's like as if you're cloning your past, and your future will be a past for another future. Now it's getting too philosophical, I know, but basically, if we go through that, if you forgive and you just let go your past without letting go the experience you gained from your past, it doesn't mean that you accepted what happened to you. It means just that you don't accept it. Yet you just, okay, you let go for your own selfishness. You don't need to hang on to that grudge, and then go forward, building a future, having that experience with what happened to you, yet not having that fear, that grudge that will anchor you in the past. You will be able to do something about it. So this is one of the major parts in hypnotherapy, the way we were taught, and we do it actually. To do that, some people, they will think, you don't do forgiveness. Forgiveness is it's not needed and stuff like that. Yeah, why not? To each his own. But from my own, it doesn't mean that you accept what happened to you. It doesn't mean you condone, their wrongdoings. It's just like, it's for your own good. You don't have to get just stuck there. Move on. And if it was hard consciously, it can be done on subconscious level with hypnotherapy. So basically, if you cannot access that space, that place inside of you, which is the 95% of you, basically it's you. So if you cannot access that, there are many people who are well experienced who can access that part and just do that cleaning in order just to have that bright future with no fear. So that's quite amazing, I know.
Yes, I want to ask you, Daniel, if I may. I'm curious. I came into hypnosis by accident. How did you get your interest or opening in hypnosis?
Actually, you told me once your story. Basically, it was something waiting to happen with you. For me, it was a total accident. A total coincidence. It happened that my professor in morphopsychology, she told me one day, he said, like, we're going to have a training in hypnotherapy. She's a psychotherapist, by the way, and psychoanalyst by the roots from Freud. Anyway, so basically, I said like, "What do you mean hypnotherapy? Like hypnosis?" Said, "Yeah." Said, "When is it?" I said like every Tuesday and Thursday or something like that. I said, "Look, my schedule. I was so free. I had nothing to do." I said, "Yeah, what the heck?" I went there and it happened. Actually, it really was by a coincidence. I was sitting there just listening to what was being told. That was actually quite interesting. And I started like, okay, if the introduction took away plenty of all these misperceptions, I'm quite curious to know what will happen later in that movie. So I was so persistent. I was basically, some people that were going and coming because it was on a very long period of time, and I was just so persistent coming every Tuesday and Thursday. And I learned plenty of things because sometimes it was just me and him, me and the trainer. It was just like having a chit chat. So what happened to be, I was going there to have a basic training. It ended up having like some sort of a advanced training without knowing it. And at that point in time, I was telling him, just I want to see do you have any sessions recorded? He said like, yeah, I have that DVD of Jerry Kine doing it was a weight loss session, double session or something. I said, yeah, I didn't know the name. I don't know anything about hypnotherapy back then. So I took that DVD, I watched it. Okay, Omni Hypnosis, internet. Okay, and I sent them, and and here it started. So basically, it started by mere coincidence. I was going there just like, it wasn't even curiosity. I'm kind of curious guy, but at that moment in time, I was so bored. I wanted to do something, so I went there, and here I am, doing an interview.
And did you actually train with Jerry Kine face to face?
Actually, no, not face to face. Actually, it was the videos, but I was able to catch up with some on the Omnigrad. There was a group on Yahoo and for the Omni grads, and there was Jerry Kine there. There was Steve Parkhill. There was Bob Branner, Barrel Innes. Wendy Weber, many others, many big names. So I was almost living on that Yahoo group. So I was just sending all those questions and reformatting and just putting there. And I was quite active, and I wanted to learn more and more. So it was like I was just getting all that information.
It's amazing to me that I know all of these big names, and occasionally I'm told I'm one of them, and I'm thinking, I'm imagining this, because I would never have guessed that would have ever happened to me. and you among them.
I guess like sometimes they just say like, okay, what you're saying is something interesting. As they like, yeah, I talk like that. I just like get those information. It doesn't feel like, and then when you actually we were on that the Dave Elman legacy Zoom conference, global Zoom conference. I was giving a small lecture on Freud, from Freud to Dave Elman, from psychoanalysis to hypnoanalysis. And it was like it was, according to Wendy, I wasn't just looking at plenty of on the screen, because I was sharing my screen, writing plenty of things. And I was talking to Wendy Weber, and said, "You had a full room."
Yes.
So I was like, okay, wait, what? It's like sometimes you don't know how much you know until somebody gives you that feedback. But one thing I learned from my life, not to fall in the imposter syndrome trap. Okay, don't be on the spectrum of the Dunning-Kruger, thinking that I know too much. Yet, if I don't know, I will say I don't know, but then I praise what I know. I don't just go there and say like, no, I'm not that shy kind of person. Sometimes no, I'm not that kind of shy person. Mm-hmm. Yet I want to learn plenty of information from many people. This is, as it is said, the more you know, that you the more you don't know, the more you know you don't know.
You read my mind.
So it's basically the more you know, the more you know you don't know. So it's like yes, it's good. That's good. That's perfect. And the good thing about the whole COVID thing and the hypnotherapy, uh, it brought us so close to each other. Some people I haven't dreamt of just having a chat with, and now I consider myself, I am a DHI trainer in Dave Alman Hypnosis Institute, and I just consider myself, as I told Cheryl, I am the adopted one. It's like I was sponsored. I was there. I was with them all the time. It feels like a family. It's not like there is that barrier, and I feel lucky. Yeah, I'm lucky to have all those big names getting there, and it wasn't something that I really planned meticulously to get myself there. I just find myself there because, but it's like when you have like let's put it this way. I really want to be humble on that. It's when you approach things with positive, like goodwill. You don't have any prejudgment.
Mm-hmm.
It will shine. It will show. People sometimes they plan things and it just like put them quite meticulously to get into
Yes.
things. But I found myself having plenty of supportive people, even now in our crisis. Many of the hypnotherapists out there on, from Wendy Weber, and
yes,
I call her, like Beryl, as she's my fairy godmother. Actually, they have presented many things that I have never been able to.
Perhaps if I write that book that people keep asking me to write, they might ask me to join the panel.
Yeah, why not? You can actually, it's not like about writing a book. I haven't written a book in my life. I have plenty of ideas though, but it's that moment in time when it feels like I never ask in return. Some people, they will just say, why do you're so giving. This is who I was. Actually, we were raised like that in the family, and it happened that if people they want to pay the service, let them pay. If they can't pay it, the heck, I'm just giving you a service. So some people, they'll say like, no, don't do it this way. You're too good to do that. So yeah, I'm too good, like in terms of experience, and I'm too good in terms of morality, and it's just from the inside. So here I am just praising myself. I know, but basically it's quite unusual to have that kind of coincidence. I call it coincidence. It was a a series of coincidences, one thing after the other, and in a term of like 1.5 years, due to COVID and whatever was happening, I was just like going up and up and up and up and up, and I was praising that. It's like great, but I wasn't getting drunk on that. I know this, I know that. So this is there's that balance. I don't bash myself that I don't put it there. So I have said at least 50 eyes. People, they will say like he's a pompous prick. Now I have I have an ego, but anyway, yeah, basically it's all about being good, pay it forward. That kind of positive loop feedback. You give me, let's say you give me $1, I give you 10. You give me a car, I give you a house. You give me a house, I give you a complex, and then it goes like that. The world should be it's a utopia, but as we were talking about it, humanity, 23 pairs of chromosomes, 37 degrees Celsius of temperature, psychology is all over the place. In whichever country it is, people, they're just asking for power, greed, and whatever, you just name it.
I've got a question for you. You've used the term a couple of times, and I imagine there's going to be several listeners who don't know what it means. I can hardly pronounce it. But morphopsychology, for the listeners,
okay.
What does that mean?
Okay, morphopsychology is actually it was before that the term psychology was like brought into the world. Morphopsychology is a term and a study that works on the facial traits, rather not the expressions. from a still image, the facial traits of a person that will tell their character. So basically, it's because people, they say like that character, okay, but the character is quite dynamic. So if you get the person from his childhood and you see how the evolution of the face, if they go through traumas, you will see plenty of there are some facial traits that will go away. So basically, morphopsychology is the study of the character of a person, the psychology of a person, if you can say, through the facial traits. And it was done by Louis Cormont. He was a psychiatrist at the he's a French psychiatrist, by the way. And it's the Société Française de Morphopsychologie. It's like the French the French Society of Morphopsychology. That's.
So, have you read my face?
I've read your face.
Right.
Yeah.
And would you like to give us an impression?
No, I don't say it in public. You know, it's like I can do it, me and you. But I can give some traits. You know, some people might be quite curious about things, and I will say like basically we have several types, if we can say. Okay, so for several types on the faces. We look at the frame. Okay, we have the big frame, the big face, and then we have the small face. The small face is the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So basically, that thing, the small face, is all the receptors. Okay, so these are receptors. Okay, I know that we have the ears, but basically we're talking about receptors. And you have like 3 levels in the face. You have the what do you call it? Instinctive level. I'm trying to translate from French, by the way. Instinctive level, and then you have the affectionate level, affection level, and you have the cerebral level. And these levels are just the same thing as if it's your body. Okay, so your head your face actually will be like your body. You know, usually you meet people with your chest, which you go forward. That's that part here. Okay, and then you have all your needs when it comes to sexual and food, and you know, your belly and your pockets, the money and the sex. That's the instinctive down there. And then you have the head, which is the cerebral. And these parts, some if you put them on you get a still image, a mugshot, and then you just draw a line on the eyes and draw a line here, and you can measure, you know, which one is dominant more than the others. Sometimes you have parts that are more dominant than others in width and in length, and it depends on those different stuff. Plus you have the receptors. If the eyes are quite close, like as if you're hunting, you're quite selective. Then the nose, if it's projected toward the front, it's like you like talking to people. Open, you know, these, what I call them, narine in English, I don't know. If they are open, you're open to talk to people also, just welcoming people. This one here, if it has more meat into it, rather than it's like very quite narrow, it means like you like to, you know, touchy-feely kind of getting hold with people. The mouth is about how do you like the things in the like in food, let's say, you know, the lips are very big, like you want to eat food, and if they are very very well drawn, it's like you're selective in what kind of food you eat, and how do you pick yourself. It's quite complicated in a certain
Sounds
way.
like it is. I'm wondering if you can see from my face, will I live to the end of the month?
No. Actually, you know, the good thing about morphopsychology, there's no right, no wrong. The good thing about it is like you can see those traits, and you can tell that person especially if you are in human resource management, let's say, some people, they don't fit into having, you have someone who's like dilated, we call them dilated frame. You just put them in accounting. They either, it's good for them. But if you get someone skinny like a rail, it's like very quite retracted, very you put them as an accountant, either they will grow some weight and they
if you were in human resources, based on my face, would you give me the job as a hypnotist?
I would give you a job to connecting with people, actually. From one thing, your nose is is opened on the sides, and then it's very well projected. Plus, you are a good listener. The ears are, and then you listen. You're very selective and observative from your whatever you call these
eyebrows.
The eyebrows, yeah. And you're selective with the eyes, because the eyes are not like opened. You're just kind of a hunter, kind of selective. And you have the things here. If you do like that, you have many. If I can, yeah. So this is the analysis part, and plus you have a fluidity of ideas that go down there. So I will not go down, just continued, because some things they have, we call them antagonists. It's like antagonism. It's like there are some disharmonies and things, and this is due to the trauma that you had. You're right-handed, right? You're right. You're
yes,
right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Yeah. I can see it, because your left side is so squashed to the inside, as if you had like a very like a harsh trauma or something.
I have some brain damage which would cause that. You notice that when I smile, my smile tends to be crooked, and I have to work really hard to get this side up.
Yeah, and then you have. I look at these ones here. These are the indicators of affection. So basically, if you had a fearsome trauma, you get it squashed. You get the meat is going down. So yeah, it's the good thing about it. When you have a patient or client coming to the clinic and you're talking to them, you will be able to get an idea of what you are up against. So if there's a trauma that has been hidden and that person is crystallizing all their stories, and you just talk to them about it, you can just make it through, to let them open up and talk. Just make them feel like something. So basically, you can understand and how to approach them. This is the most important part: how to approach those people. If they are quite cerebral, you talk to them senses, and if they are affectionate, you talk to them with more emotions. If they are more, on the lower part, instinctive, then you will be discussing economics maybe with them, or just talking to their needs, maybe food or something. So basically, it depends on how do you see them, and it depends on the face. If it's like retracted, it's like dilated. It depends if it's like frontal. Sometimes you see people, you look at them, they have a face like that with just a nose going out. It's like, it feels like, what the hell happened to that guy? It's like those people, though, they take a step back to understand what is being taught, and they are so kind of strategically meticulous when it comes to saying things. Yeah, this is normal psychology. I know.
That's very interesting.
It's quite interesting.
I thought it was about the face, yes, but I didn't think that the audience might not know what it meant.
It's quite interesting. Actually, there's a book that was in French. I searched for it. It was a very, very, very old book. And then actually I found it. I'll show it if people are interested. This is the book. I searched everywhere. I sent to France to get this. It's a French book. Dr. Louis Courmand, Nouveau Manuel de Morphopsychologie. It's a very old book, actually. This one is 1966. Okay, there's an older version of it, and at last, about 2 years ago, they translated it to English.
That's good.
At the end, it was because each time I wanted to do a certain conference, so I wanted to do a study. I wanted to, because there are plenty of terms that were written in French. That's why I was trying to translate. And so it was hard for me. And then I got the new book, which is basically almost the same one, in English, in order just to be able to jot things down. That's funny, yeah.
You speak French and English. How many other languages?
Arabic, some Swedish, and some Spanish. I can understand. I can read. I can read and understand. But the dialect, I didn't have the time to practice a lot. But I can make something out of it. So it's So it's Arabic, English, French. That's what we're talking about. Like I speak it.
We English are so ignorant. We only speak one language. But we speak it very well.
No, you have to. You know, when I was in Ireland, we said, like, we used to say we speak English and drunken English.
I don't drink. I'm never a drinker.
So you're a monolingual then.
I made that mistake when I was in my early 20s, and I used to drink heavily when I was in my early 20s until one night I was at home and I suddenly felt very ill, and I went into the restroom and I was sick, and I found myself looking at about 2 pints of blood going down the lavatory, and I thought I really ought to go to hospital because I thought I was dying, but I never did go to hospital, and I've had stomach issues ever since. And I stopped drinking at that point. I thought, this is my wake-up call, and I don't drink anymore.
Okay, that's better.
Which is why I'm drinking milk.
Milk. Yeah, I see. A pint of Guinness with milk inside.
It's actually coconut milk. Coconut milk.
Don't let the lads in Dublin see you doing that.
Is that water you're drinking?
Me, I drink Guinness, and actually I get some Irish whiskey.
Okay, I do like Guinness, but I just don't drink it.
They messed my head when I went to Dublin. I was there. I got my studies in telecommunication there, and then I had to go back and forth to do some projects and work. So when I went to Dublin, I was wearing a jeans of 32, and when I came back, I was wearing a jeans of 40. So basically, I had a beer belly. So it was good. Actually, you know, when you go all over the globe, you meet people, you get all these cultures, and morphopsychology was something quite interesting because it was fun that you can sit and just look at people's faces at the airport. You don't need no phone. You need no magazine, no journal, nothing. You can just look there and okay. It feels like so fun. Like you have all these walking books as if they're telling you stories. And it is quite interesting, you know, when you start getting used to it. But it's even more, it's better when you start getting to know people, and then you know that face is not the full story. So this is the first thing they teach us. You never judge, just understand. So as a therapist, never judge. You just we do the understanding part, and then we do a guiding part. We don't lead. We don't just take that person and we take them, because if we lead, then we're taking them where we want to. But then what about them? Where they want to go? You just go and ask them, where do you want to go? What do you want to achieve? I can help you to do that. I will guide you. I will not lead you. So it's all about you. This is why we say all hypnosis is self-hypnosis somehow, but it basically is the work of that client in the chair in front of you, and those people on the street, at the pub. You know, when you're talking, it's just like having some close-up hypnosis when you get to in a pub on the bar, having, you know, sticking someone's hand to his face or sticking his hand on a pint and not being able to lift the pint. It's quite fun, you know. You just do these kind of things.
Yes, we it is fun. I like sticking people's hands to the table and that kind of thing, because not for me, because it amuses the people you do it to. They think it's funny, and they are surprised and shocked by the by it, that they think it's something very special, don't they? And
Yeah.
I like the look of confusion and dumbfoundedness on their faces, that they can't lift their own hand from a table because they don't believe that it's happening.
Actually,
And
the people around them, they don't believe, are you doing it this on purpose? Just to try to live it, and he can't. And then they were just like looking at each other. Is that true? Yes. It's like,
but I like to do it as a teaching tool, because it's so easy to demonstrate for somebody, for instance, like a smoker. They could give up smoking as easy as they could lift their hand off the table. You've stuck their hand to a table using nothing but the power of their mind, and it's just literally stuck by illusion, exactly the same way their mind is stuck in that routine of smoking or overeating, or drinking too much, or whatever the crutch is that they have. And they could just literally turn it off just by realizing that there's nothing keeping the hand on the table.
If the mind created it, the
why
mind
I
can
do it.
Yeah.
As a tool to help them.
Actually, it's one of the basic things when you do these kind of suggestibility tests, and then you get that child in the room said like, yeah, we do that all the time in school. It's like, shut up.
Yes.
You're just like, you're having those magnetic fingers, and it's like biological. It has nothing to do with it. If people are looking at me now when they do this, it's not hypnosis. Let them try harder to suggest things to you. It's biological. Yes. Your finger will just get stuck by it.
Yes. I had and this is, people can see this on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel. I had a young lady that I hypnotized. This is the only time I've ever done stage hypnosis, and just did it for a few minutes in front of a crowd of my friends, because I had to do a speech. My name was picked out of a hat, so I thought, well, let's do a speech incorporating some hypnosis. So I did some stage hypnosis on her, and I changed her name to George, and she was convinced that I'd plunged into her mind and read her mind, because I didn't know her boyfriend's name was George, and she thought I was a witch.
That's a very uncommon English name.
Yes, and so she was convinced that I'd read her mind, and she was worried what else I'd read in her mind. So I had to assure her that it was just purely by chance, and that I hadn't read her mind and stolen her credit card number or anything else. And it was good fun.
Yeah, actually, I was asked once, and I was on a TV program where we were discussing like hypno robberies. It was just how to people, yes, they get robbed by something. They thought it was hypnosis. It wasn't. So basically, it's they were using some sort of powder or something. They throw it in the air. So the guy was telling me, so like, okay, can you do something for us here? I said, like what? I put you in the chair, I put you in hypnosis, and then you tell me what is your problem. Then I can help you with it on air. So like, you won't do something else? No, they have your magician is just next to me. He can do that. So people they were looking at why. I said like, listen, in hypnotherapy is totally different. It's nothing to do with stage hypnosis. We're working in hypno and therapy. So basically, hypno and therapy. So hypno is that state, that's natural state. And then the therapy, we use psychotherapeutic techniques that every single psychotherapist use them, from Gestalt therapy to EMDR to CBT to whatever you need. We do that in hypnosis. This is what we do. So when people, they say hypnosis is magic, I can say like psychotherapy is magic too, because what we're using is your techniques. As if so I shoot with the gun, to get fishes underwater. You shoot birds, same gun. Like,
yes, indeed. I want to I'll ask you, Daniel. Do you have any rituals that you take yourself through every day to help you through the day? What have you advice that you can give to the listener? Things that you do every day to give you your what can I say, to give you extra strength or vim to help you face the stresses and strains of the day? Do you have a ritual? How do you get out of bed in the morning?
Believe it or not, when I work with people, this is a de-stressor. Okay, it's not like projecting. Actually, that's what I was telling you. Like that message that will come to you, telling you, thank you for that change. Thank you for what has happening. Thank you for what have you done. It's a de-stressor by itself. It's just like telling me, okay, today you woke up, you're gonna change somebody else's life to the better, not because you want to, because they want to, and you're just guiding them to do that. It's not like you're doing a sainthood kind of job thing, but it's you have that push, that reason, that purpose of getting there. I used to have that kind of, let's put it like a ritual. It's kind of special forces kind of ritual. You wake in the morning, you do like 5 minutes breathing, intermittent breathing. You do like 5 minutes some physical stuff, one after the other, like planks, push-ups, and crunches, and whatever it is. And then you jump, and then you just sit, and then you get your mind in mindfulness for 5 minutes, and then you plan your day in your head. You visualize everything, every single meeting that you're going to do. It's like it takes about 20-25 minutes every single day. So you have to wake up, and then Lebanon doesn't keep you on your 2 feet all the time, because at the end of the day, in these kind of periods, you would just wake up and said like, okay, that's a new day. Hooray, I survived another day. So basically it's like, let me, I'm not gonna waste my time with this. Being awake in the morning is quite a bliss. So let me, take advantage of that. So that place is this place here. You love it. You leave, you love it or leave it, as if you can say so. But at the end of the day, it has taught me too much. It's like more than anything else that has that I was able to read, from whatever coaches or trainers or whatever you say. All my talks, everybody knows me here. I do the therapy in Lebanese. I use plenty of the Lebanese dialect. All the expressions. Some people will say like, how do you know these proverbs? It's like these things are like my ancestors used to say them. So yeah, it anchors those people in that nostalgia of having that family, all that, the words that your grandpa used to say. So basically, yeah, those people, those faces, this is what makes you go forward in life, find a purpose. Yeah.
I want to ask you, coming to a close soon, one final question. If you could go back into the past and visit yourself when you were younger, how far back would you go? And what would you say to your younger self?
How far would I go? I would be waiting for, that's going to be kinky. I would be waiting just by the egg when the sperm come in to tell it, you're going to be great. Keep going, do whatever you want to do. And you will reach there. Been there, done that. I know you're going to have a wonderful future.
That's a great answer. Now, would you like to give us any website or place where the listeners can contact you, or any other resources that you have?
You can go to my page. It's ceolb.com, and then it will forward you to the Facebook page immediately, or you search for me, Daniel Ghanimi, on Instagram, the Control Alternative or the Control Alt. So basically it's CE, like Charlie Echo Oscar Lima Bravo.com. That's the website, ceolb.com. Basically, it's not a website, it's a forward to the Facebook page. And you can send me a message, whatever you want. And you can search for Daniel Ghanimi, that's Ghanime, on Instagram. And you just drop me a line.
That's fantastic. I've really enjoyed the discussion that I've had with you, Daniel. I hope we can do it again soon. I hope that would be excellent. And this has been London Overcomers Real Pain. And I have been Keith Anthony Taylor. And if you want to contact me, you can find me on my website, which is hypnosensei.co.uk. And you can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/hypnosensei. So thank you for listening. And I look forward to my next show with another fabulous guest, I'm sure. So thank you for listening, and goodbye from myself and Daniel Ganime, and bye-bye for now.